This message goes out to Lee Michael Friedman from Gotham Armory. Hi, Lee, this is Nathan DeCOux of the Armory, and I am here to give you a short tutorial on how to load, use, and clean your brand new Gotham Armory Bloody Blood Knife. Now, this is, of course, an adaptation of the fighting knife, which I made, which was, in turn, an adaptation of a blood knife that was used on Bloody Andrew Jackson on Broadway. There's a couple little alterations because I've made this into a blood knife. The handle's a little longer to accommodate the reservoir, and to make the wrap look a little neater, I added a little square pommel to the end of the knife. No extra charge, of course. There you are. There's the knife. Satin finish. Looks lovely. Glows in the sunlight, etc., etc. So let's get started, and I will show you, first of all, how to load the reservoir and get it all set up. Okay, step one, loading the reservoir of the blood knife. Here we have our blood bottle with a specially adapted top that has a piece of 1/8 inch vinyl hose on the top of it, and here is our reservoir, which I made out of a piece of 5/8 inch vinyl tubing and the cap of a bottle of hand sterilizer. Works pretty well. So here we go. We're going to take our blood supply, going to thread that hose into the top of our reservoir. It's a tight fit, but that's a good thing. And just tip it up and squeeze it until the reservoir is full, or at least until the reservoir looks full from this angle. We want to fill it up to just a little over the bottom of the cap on the reservoir. There's some room inside the cap, but we want to leave a little bit of room because when we load the knife, the reservoir is going to get a little compressed, and we don't want spillage. So we want to make sure that we don't quite fill it all the way up to the top. We just want to fill it to the point where it looks full, but there's a little bit of room left down in the cap there. Okay? Great. Your reservoir is full. You're ready to go on to the next step. Here we go. Here's our blood knife. If you look, and it's a little tricky with the light here, but you can barely see it from your angle. There is a port dead center in the middle, under the hilt, under the guard of the knife, that comes out through the blade. It's a clean drill all the way through, and it just so happens to fit this 1/8 inch hose perfectly. See, threads in like that. What you're going to want to do is take this piece of 1/8 inch vinyl tubing. It's got a little cuff that I made of another piece of vinyl tubing that it's epoxied onto it, and this is going to act as the conduit between your reservoir and the knife. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can either port the shorter end into the reservoir and then try to thread it into the knife. I like that method. Or you can simply thread this into the port in the bottom of the knife and then try to thread the reservoir onto it. I prefer doing it the other way, personally. I like taking my reservoir. It just helps, and it prevents spillage if you've overfilled your reservoir a little bit. So we're going to take this. I'm going to thread that needle right up in there, and it should slide in fairly smoothly if you've kept your conduit clean. Okay. That slid in pretty easily. Now we're just ready to load this in. I'm just going to push it in hard. Now I think I've overfilled this reservoir a little bit, so I'm going to bring my paper towels forward just in case the knife spills a little bit while I'm loading the reservoir in. I want to give it a good, firm, solid push and get it all the way into the reservoir and the handle. Oh, good. We did that without any spillage. Excellent. Now, it's seated pretty well in the handle, as you can see. Now, For the usage of the blood knife, here's where it gets a little interesting. I've adapted this blood knife so it could be used either right or left-handed, or so the handle can be squeezed from either side. If you want to squeeze it from both sides, that's great. You can leave it as it is and just put the wrapping on. That's not a problem. But I did design this little back plate here. It's just made of a little PVC foam board. And since I'm right-handed and I'm going to be holding the knife in a hammer grip for my demonstration, I'm going to be holding the knife like this. That means that my fingers on this side are going to be doing the squeezing. So I want the back plate over here. And it fits both sides evenly. And what it's going to do is once I fit that back plate into place, it's going to push the reservoir out a little, so I'm going to get a little more blood action when I do the squeeze. And then from there, I'm just going to apply my wrap. It's got a little Velcro on the back. That sticks in place, and the seam is hidden pretty well when I hold the knife in my hand. So here we are, we're ready to go, and of course, you know, there's nothing automatic or mechanical about this blood knife, so gravity is always a big help. But at least for the first squeeze, because there's so much blood in the reservoir, and because you're going to get so much compression out of this squeeze, it's you know, it's pretty sure that I'm gonna get a lot of blood on the first squeeze. If I want to do more than one cut, then I may need to use gravity. I may need to tip the knife down a little, and you know, the suction, the air pressure on or I should say the tension of the blood in the tube is not going to keep is not going to let the blood come out. You'll have to shake this pretty hard to get any blood out of it without squeezing it. So that's a good thing. You know, you can sheath this, you can holster it, you can tuck it in the back of your pants, and it's a pretty good chance that you're not going to get any leakage. So here we go. Got my paper towels, and I give the knife a good hard squeeze, and I get a nice jet of blood. That is more than sufficient for a throat cut or some other kind of grievous wound, or for, you know, staining clothing or whatever it is you want to do with it. I got a little bit on the hilt, I got a little bit on the handle, that's okay. I'm just going to wipe it right off, and as long as I use gravity, again, I'm gonna have to tip the knife down a little to get some more blood out of it, but I can get another great big gout as long as I use gravity from here on. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's actually check and see how much blood we've got left in the reservoir. Wow, that we've still got like a third, maybe a quarter, somewhere in between there of the blood left in the reservoir. So that is pretty good, I think, in terms of a blood knife. Most blood knives, you know, you get about an eyedropper full out of them. I wanted something that you could get multiple cuts out of, so I decided to do a little more engineering on this, and I'm pretty satisfied. So let me know what you think, and I will be sending this along shortly. So, cleanup. Unloading the blood knife is just as simple as loading it. Pop the back plate off, push the reservoir out, take out the conduit, and there you go. There really shouldn't be any spillage inside the knife if the knife is loaded properly. There isn't now. What you are going to get is a little bit of blood inside the conduit. So what I would do is after every performance with this, take it over to a faucet, bunch up the wrapping in your hand. Try not to get the wrapping wet because it's real leather, and it will dry out and crack if you get it wet too many times. Just, you know, let some warm water drizzle through the conduit, and, you know, after only a few seconds, that should clean it out. If the knife does get left overnight and the conduit clogs, not a problem. Do the exact same thing, and a little warm water will open up the channel. You know, just make sure the channel's clear, and of course you're going to want to rinse out your little piece of hose here, and I have included a cap with the reservoir. It's not on hand. Oh wait, no, there it is. There's a cap with the reservoir, so if you want to keep the reservoir full or half full, you know, between uses, then you can just stick a cap on there. It's on there pretty lightly. I'd put a piece of tape over it if you want to store it long term, or if you want to transport it while it's being while it's full. So there you go. There's your bloody blood knife. And if you have any other questions or comments, then please feel free to contact me. Once again, this is Gotham Armory. This is a custom piece done for Lee Michael Friedman, and you can see any of my other pieces at gothamarmory.com, or actually you can also see me on my Facebook page for Gotham Armory. And please do check those websites out and let me know what you think. Thanks very much.